welcome to Diamond Delight Edibles. My name is Liz. If this is the first time you stopped by, and for the rest of you guys, thank you so much and welcome back. And for those of you who showed your support through Buy Me a Coffee, that means the absolute world to me. Thank you so, so much. So today, what do I have for you? A super, super easy recipe that you could do in less than 10 minutes. And if you're not a candy maker or baker or whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as you can operate a hand or a stand mixer, you've got this covered. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make our space old-fashioned buttermint candies. Now, for a lot of you might remember these from the restaurants years and years ago. That big bowl of mints, that's what these are. So it's just a few simple ingredients, a little mixing, a little bit of rolling, and you can make these amazing homemade canned buttermints. All right, so let's jump into the ingredients, our equipment, and let's get these made. Oh, one thing I wanted to add. If you want to make these vegan, you're going to replace the butter with vegan butter and the heavy cream with coconut cream. All right, and that way then you can make this recipe vegan. Want to include everybody. All right, guys, thanks. Stay tuned for our ingredients. Alrighty, so the ingredients that we are going to need for our super easy buttermints is, so I am using a 1/4 cup of space butter and I'm using a 1/4 cup of regular salted butter. You can use salted or unsalted. I usually prefer salted, but that is totally up to you. We're going to need altogether 3 cups of powdered sugar. And I'm going to be doing 2 cups of powdered sugar regular and 1 cup that's infused. And I have links down below to for the recipes on how to infuse those. We're going to need 2 tablespoons of heavy cream at room temperature. That's very important, otherwise it'll mess with your butter. I'll get to that later. We're just going to do a pinch of salt. And then we are flavoring. So these are obviously buttermint, so I'm going to be using peppermint, but if you do not like mint, you can certainly just use the fruit flavor candy oils or fruit flavor extracts. That is totally up to you. Then you're going to want some food coloring if you would like them colored. You do not have to. That is totally optional. And we're going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And that's pretty much all for the ingredients that we are going to need. And the equipment, not much obviously. A bowl, a strainer for sifting the powdered sugar, a hand mixer or a stand mixer, whatever your preference. Parchment paper, obviously measuring cups and measuring spoons, spatula, and the only last thing is a drying rack if you got one. Makes it handy. All right, so that's everything that we need. Let's jump in and let's get these made. Like I said, super easy, less than 10 minutes. All right, so the first thing I'm going to just do here is to sift my powdered sugar. So I'm using 1 cup, as I said, of our spicy sugar, and run that through the sifter. Now, with making if you make infused powdered sugar, it does pump up when it's drying. That's nowhere you can just put it through a food processor or blender or just a sifter like this. So you're going to work your powdered sugar through, and this will also ensure a nice creamy candy and not be gritty at all. Now, the reason I'm measuring these out separately is because I want to make sure that I get all of this my space powdered sugar into the candy mixture, and I may not need the full 2 cups of the straight powdered sugar. So this way I make sure that this all goes in, and if I don't need all the other powdered sugar, no problem at all. And now 2 cups of our regular powdered sugar. And just the exact same thing, just run it in a different bowl, just run it through your strainer, or your sifter if you have one. And 2. This is probably going to be the longest part of the whole thing. And again, it is important to not skip this step. I know it's easy to, but definitely try not to miss this step, because as I said, this will depend how creamy and nice mouth-feeling your candies are. Okay, now that I've got my sugar prepared here, I'm just going to set this aside. All right, so the first thing that goes into our bowl is our butter. And again, you want to make sure that your butter is room temperature. And we're going to beat this on medium-high for 2 minutes. And of course, as always, got to make sure you scrape down your sides. There we go. So your butter is nice and light and fluffy. And again, this is important for the texture of your candy. Scrape down all your sides. Ta-da! Next, I'm just going to put in my little pinch of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon or 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. That's up to you. Because I'm going with the mint, I don't really want to thick, so I'm going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. It helps also masking the flavor of the herbs. Now I'm adding in my space sugar and a little bit of cream, about a tablespoon. And then we'll start adding in the remainder of our icing sugar and our whipping cream. So a little bit more sugar, a little bit more cream. Again, start out low. Combine, and we'll add in most of our sugar and our cream. Okay, it's going to need a little more powdered sugar. So at this part, I'm going to eyeball. I'm going to do about 1/2 cup. So this should be coming together as a dough. I'm going to use the spatula to mix in the remainder here of this extra powdered sugar. And see, now it's starting to come together like an actual dough. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of icing sugar here on my counter, and I'm going to knead the dough. So see how it comes together there? So now we want it to have a nice, smooth, pretty much like Play-Doh. And at this point now, I'm going to drop in some of my peppermint extract, and I'm just going to use just under a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm not really big on minty, so I'm going to use about 1/8 of a teaspoon. You could always add more. Can't take it out. And then we're going to just work our dough so that all gets nicely mixed through. We don't want it sticky, so if it starts getting sticky, just roll it in your powdered sugar. It's coming together real nice. Woo-hoo-hoo. Love it, love it, love it. I love it when a plan comes together. Oh, I can smell the mint. Let me just try. Could use a little bit more mint. So I'll put in another 1/8 of a teaspoon. So see how my dough is coming together really nicely like a Play-Dough? All right, so now I'm just going to divide this up into, I think I'm just going to do red and white. Or we could do red, white, and green. To do this step, it's a good idea here just to get some plastic wrap so that you don't color your counters. These are gel food colorings I'm using. Just a little dab will do ya. So I just put one little drop of the red food coloring in here, and we're going to knead this. If you don't want to get color all over your hands like I'm doing, you may want to use rubber gloves. I, however, never think of that until it's too late. And you're just going to continue to knead that until it becomes a consistent color. Nice thing about this is you can't really overwork it, like usual cookie doughs or other kinds of doughs. That's pretty good. Good enough. Now do a little drop of green. And again, you're just going to do the exact same steps with however many colors you would like to use. You want to make a whole rainbow? Giddy up. There we go. Our green looks pretty good. And for this one, I'm just going to leave it natural. So I'm just going to split my white dough in half here again. Let's put down a little bit of powdered sugar. Roll this out a bit here. And roll out some of my green. Put those together. I'm going to twist them up. That's being a little difficult. Okay, I'm just gonna have a bit of a twist. I'm gonna split that in half, and I want to roll these out so that they're about a half an inch, about a quarter inch thick actually. Half inch is a bit too big. About a quarter inch. And this is where you're going to want your parchment paper and your rack. So just some parchment paper on a drying rack. Now, if your dough is too soft to work with, just put it in the fridge for about 10-15 minutes, let it firm up, and then you should have no problem working with it. So as I'm going to roll that out, but yeah, that looks pretty good. And cut them about mid-size, about a half inch, or sorry, about a quarter inch. Quarter inch wide, quarter inch long, like that. And then you just lay them on your rack. And that's it. You're just going to leave them dry for 24 to 48 hours. And if you need to be really precise with your candies of your dosing or whatever, you can cut it and put them on a scale and scale it. It's the exact size that you would like. And if you don't use all your dough, that's no problem. Just wrap it up, put it in the fridge, and it will stay in there for quite a long time. And so you just want to try and roll them as evenly as you can. And as for the rest of these, we're just going to let them, you're going to put them on a parchment paper on a drying rack and leave them sit for 24 to 48 hours. They were going to firm right up. And then after that, you keep them in an airtight container and they will last for quite a long time, at least a couple of months. They do not have to be refrigerated. And yeah, like I said, super easy recipe. There we go. That's it. Let them dry and enjoy. And then you can enjoy these old-fashioned buttermints that most of us probably remember from our childhood. So that's everything I've got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me for our old-fashioned can of buttermints. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. As I said, it's super easy. Anybody can do it. If you can operate a hand mixer or a stand mixer, you're good. All right, guys, thank you so much again for joining. Have an awesome rest of your day. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe and like this video. Thanks again. You have an awesome rest of your day.